Hey, everybody, it's Dr. Dady. We are here on part two of the podcast, Empowering Women in 2025. I have Susan Honea today with us and Isabel Castro, and we are going to talk a little bit about what inspired them in their life to do what they're doing. So I'm going to start with Isabel. Isabel, I met you. You came to one of our Power Core groups, and I would say that before you even said anything. Now, tell me if I'm wrong, Susan, with this. When she walked into the room, just how her presence is. Yeah. So, people talk about energy, but you had that presence that is very welcoming and a loving spirit of people, right? So, right away, I was drawn to her and wanted to have some coffee and talk about what she did. And then when she started telling me about what she did, I thought, wouldn't that align really well with what I do? Because I can't make people go walk or work out, but I can connect them and she can then guide them. So talk a little bit about how you got started, what things, empowered you and where you are now, like your little journey.
Thank you. I feel like we all have a journey, and our life is truly a prophecy. So, my life, I was born and raised in Brazil, started playing tennis when I was 7. And I think just having that background in tennis and always consistently going to practice and working on my resilience and, just overall being in that space of like self discipline and consistently traveling and dedicating my life towards becoming better mentally, physically, emotionally, just shaped my mind in that direction. And then I actually got a scholarship to play tennis here in the US. So that's how I made it over to Kennesaw State, where I graduated, studied business actually, worked for many companies. But in the meantime, I was also having a relationship. So I'm very loving and kind and all of that. And my life, honestly, was always around that. I was always like, man, I want to find my person and blah, blah, very romantic, if you will. But, anyways, that person actually became my husband. So in 2020, unfortunately, we went through a divorce, and that divorce was pretty much like that downhill moment in my life where I was actually reshaping my identity. From that standpoint, I started realizing I was like, who is Bella? Who is Bella without this person? Who is Bella without this career? Who is Bella without tennis? Who is Bella without her parents and whoever? And what is she loving to do in her life? What does she actually find joy and excitement? And part of that was actually definitely the holistic approach to health. So I actually started studying more. I actually studied personal training, nutrition, positive psychology as well, behavioral science, life coaching, all these different things. I got so many certifications and went through so many seminars to get more in depth in that knowledge, but also the application of that knowledge. So that way I could also get myself out of that hole. And then I started empowering other people through my actions and through what I was embodying through the things that I was learning. And then now, back to 2020 when I was very insecure and like going through a lot of like of my life crisis, and now in 2025 really stepping up to be my higher self and like not limiting my potential. I think that's my journey moving forward. I currently have a brand that used to be Be Fit, and I was rebranding to be Vida Bela, where I want to empower people.
How's that spelled?
Vida is Vida, and Bela is like my actual name, which is funny because it means beautiful in Portuguese.
Okay.
When it's one L, so Bela. And I want to create a Vibe Tribe. A Vibe Tribe is a community where we empower each other through healthy habits, self care, personal growth, and just community, like feeling like we really belong to something. And with that, I want to empower other people to embody different aspects of health that maybe they're feeling like, oh, am I worth of that? Like, should I prioritize myself? Should I, spend money on this? Like, absolutely, right? Like you are your biggest investment, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. All those things shape who you are as an individual. So why not dedicate some time, money, and energy towards that? So that's how I see it. Like, it's a long story short, but
well, I would always say to patients, it's move, think, and eat differently. What I mean by that is, so your head, your brain, like the thinking part, I can't get through that sometimes. Like so many other things I can do, but the way and the positive thinking and how people walk in, who they are, meet them where they are. So that's why some of the tests you do, DISC test and saboteur and all these kind of different tests you can see. It was surprising to me when I did one of those tests and I was like, oh, okay, this is who I am. And then you don't want to put too much in there, right? It's like I tell patients here. I say, you can do a DNA test. We're going to know a lot of things, but that's the gun, but the environment's the trigger. So you can change your, the way you think, move, and eat, and get, like get rid of any of those disease or illnesses that you think are haunting you. But here's one of the things that is really empowering. It's taking someone where they are and then giving them all the things they need to help them move through life and be joyful, happy, and be able to give back. I think giving back is an important thing. And that's the hardest part. That's why with Susan, the business coach part of it is you want to start a business, you want to do all these things in life, and you're driven, you want to do, but you need direction and you need someone that can really organize that. I wanted to ask you, was there something that you read or really liked that was more empowering than other things that helped you? Is there something that you were like really inspired by?
Yes, I think the main thing, I'm a very emotional human. So I had to work a lot through my emotional resilience, emotional intelligence, regulating my emotions. Because I feel like a lot of times when people are deregulated, they tend to create perceptions, limiting beliefs around those negative emotions. And instead of shifting those emotions to become positive, empowering tools, they sometimes can drag themselves down and get themselves in a hole. So I guess like the level of resilience that I came from is from a place of not victimizing myself, but rather putting myself as the protagonist of my life, and that self accountability that other humans, we humans, should embody more. Right?
Eat That Frog is a good book. It helps you to kind of stay on top of things. But and I just thought of that as you were talking. But I would call you an empathic person, if that would be appropriate. That you feel people's emotions and that's very empathic, and learning what that even is helps you to then weave your way through that, knowing like, okay, I'm going to react this way and I'm going to be over emotional. And in business, strong business women, they're supposed to be very strong. So you'll see women as they run their big corporations, you'll be like, whoa, they're pretty mean. Like, no, they're just trying to have that persona. But it's that thing I say, we'll say the shit sandwich. They can still be kind and loving and then tell you the truth and then finish it with something kind and loving. Yeah. That always is really a good way to approach things. But with Susan, Susan can incorporate everything you do and everything I do because she looks at who this person is. So it's like we're a train going down the track, but she's going to tell you exactly how to go that direction positively, how to growing within yourself. Susan, talk a little bit about what we were talking prior to starting this, how you analyze, you have people take the tests and then you kind of weave through.
Yeah, so in general, I coach through two primary lenses. So the first thing we're going to do is a Clifton Strengths Assessment, which is an index of the talent themes that's rank ordered, and the top 10 to maybe 15 of them are the things that we do most naturally without really having to think about it. And then the lesser talents down at the bottom are things that we can still do, but that require more energy. And we're going to really focus on how to maximize the things that are in the top 10 to 15. We're also going to do a saboteur assessment, which is a way of uncovering the sort of subconscious or unconscious things that are standing in your way. And things like victim sort of energy or pleaser energy or controller energy. And then we're going to talk about emotional intelligence as well. And one of the things that struck me as you were talking, Isabel, was this idea of self-regulation. And in order for us to get to that ability to self-regulate, we have to be super self-aware, and a lot of us aren't. And these assessments allow us to become more self-aware, to develop language around these tendencies that we have naturally, to explore the things that are frustrating to us or that are causing us problems, that sort of thing. So, and then from there, we're going to devise a plan that might take a couple of conversations. It might take a year or two of conversations to change that sort of that talk track in our heads, right? And Dr. Dady, you were talking about this idea of what I was taking away from what you said really was this old adage of doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, the definition of insanity, right? So we're gonna call into question those kinds of things, and I'm gonna help people start to become really aware of those behaviors that they're doing that they may not be aware of yet. And so building that up and building their resilience around, okay, I'm noticing, think rubber band snap here, right? The old rubber band snap. All right, I just noticed that I did this. Now I need to do that. So reframing how we're acting in certain situations, that sort of thing. But it's all locked in the two assessment lenses, the strengths lens and the saboteur lens, so that we have a very clear path to get somebody from where they are now to where they want to be.
Well, I see this happening quite often. People are on a treadmill and they just keep going until something gets in the way. And then they're not even paying attention now. Now I tell this story. I was doing this seminar. I think I was 2 weeks it was. And I was in Florida, and it was when they had those little maps that you put in your car and you would punch in where you're going, right? Nothing on your phone. That's how long ago it was. And the second week I forgot it and I didn't know how the heck to get there, because that's what we'll end up doing. Because I think, Susan, with what you do now, it's never too late for sure, right? But and some people start later than others, but if you can catch things early enough, right, early in business, then that business is going to have so much more growth. Because if you're trying to undo bad habits, because when you really look at yourself in the mirror is when you can make those changes. And then you have to set your ego aside, right? And all the things that will hold you back. And you can't look in the rearview mirror anymore. If you want to move forward, it has to,
Yeah.
you can't look in the rearview mirror.
It's true. I was 50 years old when I hired a coach for the first time. And at that point, I had 30 years of professional experience under my belt working for somebody else. And if I'd had the language at 20, 30, even 40 that I developed when I was 50, my career would have looked a lot different. And I strongly suspect that I wouldn't have put up with some of the things that I did in a corporate environment for as long as I did. I would have changed what I was doing, either to make the bigger situation different or better, or would have walked away faster than I did. I had a lot of fear. And I think a lot of women have fear around taking a leap of faith, whether it's taking on a volunteer role at their kids' school or even in a nonprofit locally, or it's starting a new business, whether it's direct sales or it's a coaching business, or it's in the fitness or lifestyle space, or it's going back to school and getting a chiropractic degree and building up a practice, right? We have fear around all of that. So how do we set aside that fear? How do we learn to be more resilient, to be willing to take that leap of faith? That's really the question we have to answer.
Well, and you can have a mom at home and maybe she doesn't want to start her own business, but you look in the mirror one day and you're like, you've been a mom and you're just so busy taking care of everyone else. This is what struck me about what you were saying, Isabel, is you were like, who am I? So I would say I was a track athlete, Olympic track athlete. I was a professional bodybuilder. And I never, being a chiropractor and being a naturopath, I never said that's what I am, because I was always those other things. So you start taking those things away from me and honestly looking at who I am, that's a hard look, right? Because I want to be the person that's changing someone's life one person at a time, getting them, restoring autoimmune, whatever we're doing, right? Very structured. But to look in the mirror and go, who am I? That's a hard one. But when you take these tests, they really make you go, oh, I mean, like I said, I was like, oh, I'm a high D and I stay a D. It doesn't change. Like something happens, I get D-er. So that's someone. So I learned from taking these tests, though, I would listen to a patient talk and I would know who they were right in there. And I would learn how to talk to have them understand how they meet them where they are.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't push my D. Oh no, that D is not going to work well for them. So I think it's really important, no matter if you're starting a new business, right? Or, changing or, whatever the business is,
yeah,
that you need life coaching to be empowered to really see you and be able to move through your life, awake,
Yeah.
Right? Really,
Yes.
really awake, really knowing who you are, what you want out of life, because it goes by pretty quick.
Truly, and
Right.
I think like the interconnectivity of humans, like if we just like take a moment to recognize that, because being empowered woman, like we're talking here on the podcast, it doesn't mean to run the show by yourself.
Right.
It means actually to have the capability to say, yeah, there's areas of opportunity for me to open the gate for other people to enter my life and enhance my life and make me see things that I can't see. We have all blind spots. We all have different things in our subconscious that is so bared in the depths of it, and we can't access. And some other people can see through us. So
Right.
they're able to recognize those things and step up and say, "Wow, like this is something that I have here for you." And coming from a place of love,
Mhm.
just showcase that.
Mhm.
Of course, the person needs to be open to receive, but I'm saying the more this empowerment of women can be more like, hey, let me put my ego to a little bit to the side, not saying to deny it because it can be your friend, but rather, hey, I see
Or
you,
your foe.
right? I see you here, but do not like protect me, but do not limit me, right? It's like
Mhm.
it's a fine balance there. But once you step into that space of like, man, I am tapping to my higher self from a place of abundance and humility, I'm able to then really transform and reshape my life.
Right. And like you said in the beginning, and it is so true. So it takes a village. It does. So having good connections. So for me, seeing a patient and then I need them to work out or do or walk or whatever it is, or I need them to go to an orthopedic maybe that I know, or they own their own business. And then I would say, hey, Susan, would it be a good connection? So there's a lot of people that I can connect patients to that I do connect them to.
Mhm.
But one of the things, I'll work with them for a really long time, and it could be something that's really not in my wheelhouse, but it'd be like, okay, you shouldn't be doing this job because it's causing this kind of stress. And I did this for a little while, and it was called thinking into results.
Mhm.
And I just kept this part of it in my head. If you do 2 things every day to get you where you need to be, because affirmations only work if they're actions. But if you're doing 2 things every day, right? Are you when you're doing this, are you doing it in the right space? Are you knowing who you are? Like, that's so important. Are you knowing who you are? Or are you trying to push yourself to be or do something and you don't know, the person?
Right.
Like that's
And part of that too, part of that self-awareness that you're getting at here is this willingness to let go of the things that aren't serving you and to recognize that something's not working and to be willing and humble enough to ask for help. And sometimes as women, we wait and wait and wait to ask for help because we either have been taught that that's the wrong thing to do, or we think we can fix it on our own and we just keep trying and trying and trying. But it's really better if we can just be willing to let go of the things that aren't serving us and the others around us, and really land on the things that are right for us and that work for us. And if we think this thinking into results, the 2 things every day, we have to be really discerning around what those 2 things are. A mentor of mine says, do at least one thing every day that makes the cash register ring.
Hmm.
I mean, that could be a laundry list of things, right? So how do I choose the one thing every day that makes the cash register ring? And it's about being really critical in a productive way. So constructively critical of myself to say, okay, these are the lists of things that only I can do. These are the things I need to let go of completely. And these are the things I need to delegate to somebody else. That really, life falls into those 3 buckets, period. That's it. Do it myself, and I'm the only one who can delegate it or get rid of it altogether. And that helps us move into pick the 2 things every day much more easily because the list is a lot shorter.
Well, I'm trying to empower people to get, one of my patients right now is a teacher, and I'm like, this is just not working for you, right? So I'm going to give you all this information. I sent her the thinking into results. But I would like you, I think that you could really help people with homeschooling. You can, have set it all up, like look at all the different ones there are, teach them, assess their children, see what, tutor, they need more maybe tutoring before they do homeschooling. It just comes to me when they're in there, like, this is not, this, they're coming in because they're so fatigued and all the issues that happen from that, because your health just declines there, right? And every time they start school back, they're not feeling well again. Well, that's just telling you, okay, this is not working for my health, so empowering people to get out of their own way is hard. Like, they get so stuck.
Yeah.
Get so stuck. So it's good that I can send them to you, but I also have another a therapist that
A
EMDR.
therapist, yeah. So therapy,
Mhm.
hypnotherapy is often the right
Yes.
answer.
Trauma therapy.
Trauma therapy. There are lots of different ways that we can get to the right answer for these folks. The thing that impresses me most about you is that you really listen to your intuition when the folks come in the door here, right? And they come into this office with perhaps I know I did, a laundry list of issues that needed to be addressed. And it was kind of this magical experience to watch you listen to what I was saying. And I've seen you do it with other people as well. And then all of a sudden it's like this, everything clicks into place for you, and your intuition tells you this is the direction we need to go. And I think that's true for all three of us. I'm intuitive. I know you are too, Isabel, and just really being willing to hold that space for somebody else and give them what they need in that moment, whether it's me or it's one of the two of you, or it's our friend Brian, the hypnotherapist, or whoever else, right? Getting them to the right person or the right situation is our job.
That's
So,
right.
And one really cool story I tell you, and it's just recent, but I had a patient that lost her daughter when she was younger, but it had been 5 years. And I mean, honestly, when she was coming in, I was like, oh, when she'd come in, because it would always be like her head down, like, oh, I'm not, yeah, I don't feel, I'm not really doing. And I'd know by now that things should be moving. But I sent it to trauma therapy, and she came back in like 3 weeks later, and I was like, who's this lady? I mean, then labs changed. She was great. Things were going well. I mean, sometimes, most time, you're mentally, you can change cellular. I mean, I even know meditating, right? There's transcendental meditation can change cells. So if someone's still coming in and they're that patient, oh, I'm not doing good, then you're not going to be able to help them, because you got to get past what's up here.
yeah, you can change your neural pathways with 30 seconds of mindfulness or meditation. 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Think about what happens if you're willing to do it for 12, 15, 30, 45 minutes.
Right. It's
Yeah,
wonderful.
That's really powerful.
Yeah, so part of the morning routine that I love to host is virtual, but we do workout, we do stretching, and we do meditation every morning, Monday through Friday. And it's only 45 minutes that you have to devote for this practice, for the three things. And it really connects you first with your body, of course, like it's such a powerful thing, like, to have this very deep, beautiful relationship with your body. And then, of course, your mind. I mean, your mind's such a powerful tool. And then automatically by connecting to your mind, you're connecting all of the things together. And then your soul is just like empowered to be like, oh my God, I feel like on top of the world. And things start shifting in your life. With time, you start seeing, oh my gosh, I'm more confident. My body feels right. Maybe I look better. I'm showing up for myself and for others. And I just feel like humans should know that relationship through this lifetime. And I see a lot of people very disconnected mentally, physically, or spiritually. And that takes them away from, their empowerment, but also it can give space for, those depression, anxiety, all these things to come in, because they're not addressing the underlying issues or not connecting to what they should.
That's right. That's right. Well, today we did really well. I love everything, how it flowed really well together. I hope this was really empowering for you. And thank you, Susan and Isabel, for coming and sitting down, and we are all in the same place, which is wonderful talking here.
Mhm.
Because I think togetherness is energy. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be on, online. I like it better like this.
Totally.
So have an amazing day, and I hope that this will get you started. And Isabel, give us your information so if somebody wanted to contact you.
Absolutely. So right now, the best way to reach me is actually through Instagram. My Instagram is BFit by Bela. So BFITBY. Bela is BELA. Okay. So if you follow me there, you'll see access to the community is literally $20 a month. So it's like very easy. It has the calendar for the workout routine, the self-care discounts and things that you can get yourself into, and also community events. So you're more than welcome to join. Thank you.
Yep, and you can find me at Coach Susan Honea on Instagram, or by my website, which is susanhonea.com, SUSANHONEA.
Wonderful. And I'm on YouTube, Instagram, and we do a Facebook, a lot of stuff. I put a lot of stuff on Facebook, drdady.com or Center for Health and Healing. All right. Have a wonderful day. Thank you guys so much for doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you.